Charlie, forward to draw the sword, forward up and running.
Hello there everyone, and welcome back to Empire Total War 2 with this Scottish campaign. We need to continue here in North America, but just to refresh ourselves, I thought we'd go ahead and go back to Europe. So I am building troops here, and hopefully we'll launch new armies against North America and the continent. More so, I guess, against North America, because we're actually kind of running low on Scottish troops there. Most of our armies up there is actually ending up being American troops. No revolt yet in Ukrainian Netherlands. As what's going on down here is I have been able to recruit the new cannons, so the 32-pounder howitzer, huge, and then the 24-pounder artillery for the armies. So I am looking to replace that before we go further to attack here, and obviously land this army as well and kind of crash out on the French there. I'm going to continue laying the siege here until they starve or sally forth, which they can hold that for 6 turns, so that could take a while. I am bringing, you know what, I should bring some of these cannons actually down south. I guess I ran out of movement points. I can't remember what I was doing. Clearly some cannons made it down here, but more of these need to be making it all the way down here, and that will surely defeat the enemy. I've already deployed the 18-pounders from this army, has come over to join the siege here, so it should be easier to crush them, but we'll do that later on. Very little action on the high seas. I have not really come against the Spanish or the French Navy as of yet anyways, but that might change. But as long as I can avoid them, that is just as well. Over here, there isn't happening that much right now. Now, this army is poised to attack us here. And then, oh yeah, I have this small army standing in the way of my larger force. The thing is, I figure it's actually better just to walk around it and continue towards the goal, because this force is not strong enough to take on my troops here, so I could send this one out to take them out. Also, there is a rebel force here that we're gonna have to deal with. Since this one is poised to attack there, I'll just move this one back to Don Visco to defend that against the French force coming on here. And the European theater of war is done. So let's head back to North America then. This force should head to try and wrestle control from New York, or take New York from the French. Meanwhile, I will dispatch some of these American mercenaries to deal with this guy so he doesn't run around burning stuff. Getting rid of those. Continuously recruiting a lot of troops here. At this point though, I think I've run out, I've run out of American mercenaries, and now we're recruiting native tribesmen. At some point here, this army will split, or perhaps leave entirely, and move north to secure that from the French. I should probably move to strike at these, the remnants of that army, especially now that I have fresh American troops. But I think I will just go ahead and send the American troops first. That way I'm hoping that we do not get a disproportionate amount of casualties delivered onto these troops. Okay, so they would not get the reinforcements, unfortunately, which... Oh, and you ran all the way... Great. So that was a miscalculation. I'll bring out the entire force then. And now I have less men than before. As far as I can tell, we didn't lose any units. We lost 462 men, and we only killed half the enemy force, unfortunately. But it leaves them with only 3 units. But still, that was annoying. But it renders a lot of they have a lot less units in the area, which should make it a lot safer for Philadelphia. Philadelphia has a problem, of course, and I can't relieve Philadelphia, unfortunately. The largest force in the area, we keep failing at stopping the camps. Let's have my spies continue down here. So we got we got Spanish troops marching north. A lot of old units, natives, and then like really old colonial units. No cannons, because Spain, of course, does not actually control an area here that has multiple recruitment slots. So they don't have any cannons, or at least here. Their vassal does, but they don't, which is good. No cannons. That's the way we'd like to see it. Right, let's go ahead and see. What else can I do here? Nothing, I guess. Hopefully we'll not receive another counterattack here, and I'll receive another 7 units of Pennsylvania troops. I have gone ahead now and recruited a general, which seems to be wearing a American uniform, in fact. Probably is a picture of an American general. I just don't know who it is. Benedict Arnold? Perhaps? I don't know. I do not recognize it, but I do recognize the uniform somewhat. So I would say that he's actually an American, which wouldn't make sense, given that we mostly have American troops now in this theater of war. And he's called Bryce Richmond, which also fits for if he's an American. Anyways, let's go ahead and end turn, see what our enemy does, and then we'll work from there. Well then, there was nothing in terms of a counterattack. Well, the closest an attack is they blocked me from getting the gemstones, the gold, the sugar, and the wood out of Dutch Guiana. But that was about it in terms of their counterattacks. They also burned some farms somewhere, but that's beside the point. Not really able to rally any troops down south against Philadelphia, so we went without an attack. We'll continue to increase the garrison here turn by turn. They are starting to gather a bit of troops for another attack. We need to bring the offensive to the enemy. New York, though, is gathering a lot of troops from the wilderness. It's a lot of cavalry and what we've seen before. Very little cannons. We have one 24-pounder, and then they're supported out here by a smaller force. My Scottish force is coming in here. I do want to strike directly at the town, so I don't want to attack here, and I don't want to bring to battle a smaller force. I want to bring to battle the big force. So I will be marching this way, but I'll be stopping right there, and then hopefully what I'll be able to do in the next turn is move around here and attack. This though guards Boston. We do have to get another set of resupplies here, though as this force is going up against a much larger force, what I could do is I could merge a lot of the Boston infantry, and then I could send all the Americans with Kidd as he's attacking there, which is probably the best choice. Meanwhile, I definitely have enough troops that I can send some away from here, so we could send all the American mercenaries together with the Native Americans And that should be enough for an easy victory against the enemy over here. I will even spare them a battle by accepting their surrender. Still managed to burn the barrack. Colonial Line Infantry Foot. We don't get any special troops here. Perhaps I will, in time, convert this to just a governor's palace. One thing that I do note, though, is we have religious schools, which need to be burned. And then the fact that we have 2 dry docks is completely unnecessary. I have a dry dock here, which also is unnecessary. We should have at least a... This should actually be a trade port. So I'll take you and I'll put you here in the dry dock, and then we'll burn this and we'll burn this, and we'll trade that for build a trade dock here instead. Actually, what I'm thinking about now is we need to see what they have on Newfoundland. So the Navy should be dispatched to send the spy over here. It's kinda lagging for some reason, or it's stuttering. So suddenly I sort of thought that perhaps...
That's land, sir.
Yeah, I know, you're supposed to deliver the spy there. Doesn't look like they have a lot there, so I could reasonably pick this force up, unless the area is very unhappy though. They need an additional troops sent over there to make sure that we can hold it. I'm gonna send another 2. See if that works out. Also, we have ships here which could join this force to make sure that we do not end up in a disadvantaged naval battle. So go ahead and hold that. This needs to be repaired. I can actually send even more troops away here. And I cannot recruit those American troops here. We need to get some of the better troops again. The Rangers didn't do too well in the battles they've taken part in, but I don't think I've been deploying them in the right way, really. And then continuously here push the advantage of the massive amounts of Americans we have. Could definitely see about striking out here. I am safe from enemy reinforcements coming up quickly up there. They do have troops all the way over here, but it's one of those early forces. No, again, no cannons. So I think we should be able to march through there. What I would want to be able to do, though, is bring up troops that could defend or hold the area. Colonial militia, just so that this doesn't revolt in my back as I'm moving forward to crush the French over there. Which I think is an important step. Now back to Europe. And let's go ahead and take a look here. So I'm almost... Why did you decide to... Okay, so they have moved into the like Plains Delta here. But there is a sizable force. There's another sizable force that's turned up over here. The rebels have dug in. The enemy seems to be going for this area right here, where they don't really have a lot. But to make sure that this can hold against this army, I will recruit more cavalry. The French troops here are bypassing me. I don't know where they are intending to move, because there's really nothing there. Right. So that's not important. Right, there's a French force now marching down on Rome. So the army of Ross Alton could face off with this one, which Swiss elite troops, there's a lot of elite troops here. Momentous battle that would swing the favor heavily in my favor, I would say. Also, these amount of guns need to be brought down to the siege. Right. And yeah, more troops being recruited here. Right, so I really have two battles. So this one right here, but that's kind of inconsequential compared to this one right here, Ross Alton versus the French here. The thing about this battle though is the enemy's got an overwhelming amount of artillery, perhaps too much artillery in fact, but there would be very high casualties on my side. I think this though is the more interesting battle, and we are looking to open up for a campaign against the enemy here. Thing though is the areas are still really unhappy, so the forces are not really able to move forward in the same way. Perhaps it's better for me to take a defensive position in this battle, especially since they bring so many cannons. How many turns did I have until abolish 41? Yeah, that's not gonna happen anytime soon. It's a problem that it's taking quite a while to turn the populace, and it leaves a lot of unhappiness. This region, I cannot even hold it under control. It's actually has a university which I probably should burn down. Bologna. And steady hand and factory master. I should put him to good use, but I'll have him walk straight through the conflict zone and then get picked up somewhere along the coast there to be brought to universities of Edinburgh while we remove Bologna here. I would like to take the initiative, so let's just do that. I feel like this one I have a very clear advantage over the enemy. Should smash them into pieces. Dallas Patterson. All my generals now are starting, at least in North America, starting to have American names. Dallas Patterson. Bryce Richmond. And we're fighting René Fouche. And I will Fouche you aside. And so the battle starts. There's a high concentration of cavalry on the enemy flanks, which actually they're coming closer here, so it's important to get rid of that right off the start. So I'm gonna order all my howitzers to target that. Almost all shots landed short, and I'm pretty sure... Oh, did I not set them all for explosive? That was a mistake. Also, the fact that they're advancing the cavalry so quickly over there means that I kinda need to set my position rather quickly here. So I'm gonna order the cannons to that position. Oh, there's impossible terrain there. Right, we'll have 2 regiments that way. And then the rest of the Scottish line will end up here, with the colonials further out, the cavalry over here, and then looks like it's going to be the I think they changed the position of the cavalry units, so now my explosive shots are landing all over the place. Looks like the Grenadier Brigade is going to take the brunt of this attack right here. Also, these guys are coming in really quickly, and they will attack basically at the same time here, what it looks like. I'll order these guys. But since there's only 2 of them, I think it'll be fine. I will allow them to get closer. So they fired off a shot. They took out 5 men of the regiment on the right. Okay, now they're pretty darn close. Right, fire. Allow them to fire full volleys. And then immediately forming this squares. Unfortunately there, I didn't redirect the howitzers, and I think we took a hit. This one has 138 men left. Lots of the cavalry, though, were taken down. Which is good. I should extend the howitzers to actually fire towards the center. You will be sent to canister. Right, the cavalry there was sent off. So the colonial troops will quickly march up. The cavalry will swing up on the flank. The grenadiers are a little bit weak, so they'll stay in line here, and then the heavy cavalry will ride up, ready themselves to attack there. I'll set the canister to go that way. Here comes the howitzer shots. I should order them to fire further back. The small native units moving up in front of the line got absolutely wiped out. Is that reinforcements or reserves of natives all the way back there? Cavalry should start to move in and envelop the enemy. In the case over here, they should actually attack and remove those units. Right, let's go ahead and see. The cannons are not ready. I'll actually order them to target these two units. It's concentration of units there. Okay, so these guys, light troop, definitely need to be taken out. Oh yeah, the enemy is quite close here. The destruction that occurred right there, we're probably better off aiming at units further away. Do not get in my cannons, you bastards. Right, they did get in my cannons. Right, join in that, get rid of that, and then you guys get rid of that. With the heavy cavalry pushing in. These guys got stuck on the light infantry. Was it light infantry? Yeah, but there was a unit of like 200 of them. I don't get how we got stuck on that. You should focus on that unit over there. One of the French units was sent off. Cannon crew, desperate to die, wants to charge in. I think perhaps I dare fire closer in there. That was a good canister, or at least it looked like it. They're following here, and I don't want to ride into potential massacre. Right. Force those guys away. Grenadiers have done their job, but now I need them up here. Would you look at that? A perfect target. Someone decided to form square. The melee's still going on. I thought we had an advantage here. I could micromanage a canister shot in this one to make sure that that one gets removed. Heavy cavalry has struck here. Oh, they're in the flank. I didn't realize that. We need to strike there immediately. Okay, the grenadiers are coming up. They're tired, but they should be enough to turn the tide here. Get the enemy off my back. Meanwhile, the main line has held firm and has taken out the enemy. Right, the tribesmen were dealt with, you were dealt with. I'll actually order in the infantry. Oh, spikes. The AI is very sneaky with those spikes. Heavy cavalry, one of the heavy cavalry units had suffered quite heavy casualties. Okay, so one unit, unfortunately, 158th Regiment. Heavy losses. And 154 there. Right, cavalry units go after the general, infantry unit back to the line. Let's not lose the heavy cavalry in any kind of mistake over there. Right, finally, those guys were gone. Actually, all of these units should move forward and make a single line here. One unit here has lost a lot. 114, you will be retired to the cannons then. Right, the main fighting around the line have subsided. It's time for us to advance. Hold fire for now, till I figure out what I want to shoot at. There's a lot of retreating troops here. Let's make sure that they continue to retreat. Or perhaps, actually, we won't want them to retreat. I actually want them to die. Oh, both units of heavy cavalry are deciding to leave. Okay, artillery, hold your fire. Where's the gun that ran away? Right, looks good. I guess the woods is where we're going right now. Here's a French colonial unit. You should continue advancing. Chase all of these down. There are still some natives dug in over there, but that's just gonna... I'm just gonna be able to obliterate that with cannon fire. I turn to face these guys. This part of the line, right. Oh, and the heavy cavalry has now rallied behind the guns. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that at this point, I don't think anyone would hold it against me if I decided to declare this a victory, because it is. And now it's only a mopping up operation to make sure that as few of these French troops are able to get back to any defensible position. Where did he fall? Oh, he fell out here. They have so many generals who don't know which one is the guy actually in charge. We'll go ahead and march right here, and then colonial troops over there. Boom. Right. Victory! And here's the result of the battle. We deployed 4,300 men against 6,000 enemies. We lost about 1,200 men, which is a lot more than I thought we'd lose. The enemy, though, lost 5,100, having only 868 men make it out alive. Highest kills goes Regiment of Horse, followed by one of the 12-pounders. So probably some really good canisters. Canister shots in that battle to look out for. Sort of almost looks like I'm missing a unit, but I think it was just that it wasn't full to begin with. Now this town is a little bit in an uproar, but it only needs about 3 units to make sure that it holds. So I'm gonna send French troops to actually hold it, and I'll send a bit more because now this is so far behind the line, so it's not necessarily necessary to have lots of troops there. And perhaps we'll get some colonial line infantry here. What's the difference? I think that I've already checked that. These ones are the better ones. Right, so that's good, and I took control of this little town, which means that I can start working on progressing this area in terms of economics anyways. So that's good. A full stack of French troops taken out there. Then it is the question, should the second battle of this video be of me taking out this army right here? This could be a very big gamble because they've got so many howitzers. And the howitzers are the guns that I'm worried about because they could inflict a lot of damage. This is a big army though, with a lot of cavalry that could potentially make a swift attack towards their guns and take them out. So, you know what? We'll do it. We'll rather take the field and face the enemy head on than to sit in cower in the town. I bring 7,300 men against 4,500 of the enemy. So we outnumber them quite heavily, I think, because they're relying too much on artillery and tons of generals. Clearing away the cavalry and then swiping in to destroy all that artillery. With that said, let's go ahead and defend the Holy Seer. The battle has started and I'm already starting to regret attacking here. We have lost tons of troops already. One regiment even broke at the point here. Lost over 100 men. My cavalry is ordered to move in. So it's the Fitzjames Regiment, or the Fitzjames Brigade, here moving in. This 8-inch mortar battery is killing me currently with its accuracy and its amount of devastation. I'm sending in the cavalry here to see about quickly getting rid of some of this initial artillery before what is this? They're running backwards? Oh, so that's how they get their accuracy. It's witchcraft, I tell you. Okay, so I sent in both brigades, but I think I'll recall this one. Because I'm pretty sure I'll be able to hit my target here. But that was some heavy losses initially here. The brigades are advancing, as we can see. And with the 8-inch mortar, the enemy cavalry is not counterattacking my attack, nor is their infantry moving to try and protect any of this. We're going to go ahead and focus in the brigade over here. Looks like they're calling out some troops Reformed Harquebusiers took a shot. Okay, so they took a little bit more, a few more shots, but it looks like most of it didn't actually land. Okay, so I will be 80 men. But it's only pursued by generals for now. Okay, we send in the other 3 to aid it before it is crushed by the reformed Harquebusiers. And then I think what we'll do is just recall the entire brigade and then allow my artillery to open fire. I am pulling my howitzer closer so I can actually fire at the enemy's position. Alright, let's move back and then let's continue the advance here with the brigades to get ever closer. So the front row brigades are all regular line infantry, and then the backup brigades are the elites. Okay, so we had another one break, but this one rally. Now we've moved farther away though, so there's not the same risk of us getting overwhelmed. And the infantry brigade is coming close here. Even though let's see. Okay, so I lost 2 of the Fitzjames brigade, 2 units, but I think it was worth it. Looks like they're also starting to make their line here. So I will order the howitzer to set up here rather than to go wandering into the woods. And we still have the 2nd Brigade of cavalry, and the units that were retreated, they weren't completely destroyed or anything. So that should be fine, and with a large part of the enemy's artillery taken out and the rest of it unassured where it needs to set up, we should win this battle fairly easily. If it weren't for the AI being stupid, all that artillery would definitely have been able to crush me. It almost did with them using a single battery. That cannon alone probably killed like 200 of my troops or so. Right. That's the problem when I have 7,000 men to command here. Is it's hard to keep a track on everyone. For the grenadiers to hold. Alright, they were crushed. Let's go ahead and actually extend the line with the grenadiers taking the position over there. Then let's go through here. So Scottish line infantry, we got 4 of those ready to take the line, and then we have the Scottish nobles in the back, 4 of them. Tell them to hold fire. I have a single regiment of... That's not the nobles. Which unit is going there? Scottish line infantry. It's mismatched from this line. Right. That's the enemy cannons opening fire here. It is a 12-pounder, so it could definitely be spraying us with canister right now. So I should advance there as soon as possible. Let's rally up all the way up to the line, all the way up to the fence line there. and then have the Grenadiers do something similar. And the Fitzjames moving closer. There's a little bit of a hill here that covers us, so the infantry won't really end up in their firing line until it goes over there. And hopefully here, the flanking brigade will take a lot of the pressure from the center as the center moves into the attack. Also, the entire sort of left side needs to come in quicker here if they want to actually take part in the battle. Looks like my 32 pounder is firing very low. I'll order it to specifically target further back. I don't know if he was firing canister or what he was doing, but I think he just went straight into the hill. I'll order the entire line here to hurry forwards. And then same with the Grenadiers to quickly come up here. And as they do that, the cavalry will go further. Oh yeah, we have a little hill here covering this as well. Problem here though is we just fired into the hill as well. So it might be good here to actually hold that fire as well. There's impossible terrain on the hill, which is going to make advancing here difficult. Right. The lines must move into the attack. And then the cavalry on the very end there. I will now go ahead and order them. Okay, let them fire all their canisters. And there, now the line will go over the top. The enemy dismounted cavalry, idiots, charge the Grenadiers forward. Cavalry will go over. Oh. So we took a little bit of the canister. They fired half the battery. Ah, that's actually quite clever to have 3 guns firing at one point and then the other 3 firing later on. Quite clever. Sending out dragoons to attack me. So countercharge with 2 regiments of cavalry. Their howitzer is firing over here, but it's firing too low. They only have 3. Ooh, that actually did hit us and threw a load of troops around. Similar over there. I need to get closer as soon as possible. Swiss Guard, the cavalry go right in for that. And then the Grenadiers go even closer. This brigade goes even closer, and then this brigade will actually charge forwards even closer, so I can get the elites up there as well. Not winning as well as I thought we would here, so I will pour in a 3rd one. Let's see. I don't imagine too much success against the Swiss, but it allowed my Grenadiers to position themselves a lot closer and open fire. And now the main front line is underneath the fire of the howitzers. Soon this one will give away, I imagine, and then more on the left side will wheel in. Right. The Swiss Guard is still standing, and there's quite a lot of enemies here. We're kind of being held back here by bloody pikemen. What are these turquoise troops? It's Grenadiers. Looks like the enemy might be ready to pull off a charge here toward the center line. I will order the brigade to swing up, and you guys to follow, and then this to follow over here. Have you not been able to deal with that yet? And then the cavalry will come around to deal with the enemy over there. I don't know how the pikemen managed to get around back there. The Swiss Guard is barreling down on the Grenadiers. And there's an exposed flank. They need to, the 12th Grenadiers need to fall back. This unit is heavily beset by the enemy. I will order the front rank to pull back in good order while they can. And then as they pass, I will order the Scottish nobles to open fire. Although they were pulled into the melee, but the other 3 regiments should be able to fire. And we're pulling in flank fire onto this area. Finally, the cavalry brigade dealt with their target. Cavalry will start to swing in. The 12th Grenadier was pushed away, but the whatever enemy was there. So the main point of the battle is right now is right here, happening right around this regiment, which has now managed to become surrounded. The entire brigade will reroute and then push here. Why are you firing towards the woods when there's clearly a load of enemies here that needs... And this regiment right here needs saving. Scottish nobles, down to 100 men. And I will now push in. I think my cannons should probably hold fire at this point. Okay, so large amount. Also my howitzer should probably hold fire as well. Refocus this line. Right, there was touch and go here. The Swiss are holding on. Unfortunately, we had 3 brigades over on this side, which came in late and didn't really take part in battle, so it came down to the center brigade, center and the right brigade here, or the right brigades, I should say. No units destroyed though, I do believe, even though this unit was down to 77 men. Enemy general got killed. What are they stuck on? Royal Italian Regiment. See if you can't push through. I think that will be our victory when that happens. Let's reorganize what's left of this brigade right here. And the nobles. Halt and face the late musketeers. I think we've got it, ladies and gentlemen. I think we've got it. It was a very heavy fight though. Could have been a lot heavier if the enemy had more successfully deployed their cannons. But we quite clearly now hold a good advantage over Italy. This regiment right here in the end is actually holding on quite well and is beating the two regiments he's facing. They will pull back, and then the regiments behind... Oh, you weren't even set to fire at will? There, now! Now we were able to push in proper amount of fire into that regiment. And I stand victorious. Well, I'm expecting heavy casualties for this one. Hopefully though, no units destroyed. Here's the result of the battle. I am happy to see that no unit was completely destroyed during the battle, but we took heavy casualties. Almost 2,000 men, 1,878 men lie dead after the battle. I deployed 7,306 soldiers against the enemy's 4,500, so we did have a great advantage there. The enemy, as I said, took out a lot of us though. We took out a lot of them as well. 4,250 men were killed in the battle, meaning they only have 278 men remaining after the battle. 200, that probably means that the entire force was destroyed. Highest killers goes to Scottish Line Infantry. No surprise there. 146 lost, probably the Centre Brigade here that pulled up such fight. Cavalry of the Highlanders. Scottish nobles. Yeah, it's really, you can tell that they put up their heaviest fight. The Centre Brigade, and then we see the Grenadiers as well. Grenadiers, not as many kills compared to their losses. Fitzjames Regiment, very high losses, but very important. What's it called? Contribution to the battle. Oh, they actually managed to. How many regiments survived out of that? 3 regiments. And how was this going to cost me? 13,000. 13,000 is not actually that bad. Rome is in uproar though, when the army is no longer here to control those crazy Italians with their hand gestures. Damn you. No. That reduces the amount of French troops quite a lot. Also, I should say, during the end turn, Louisiana actually offered me a peace deal. Denmark, I don't know why you do not agree with my trade. You're literally under my protection. You're our vassal state. Oh, they the French are recruiting. Oh, that's not a French army. That's a Spanish army. I was wondering why they had all these Spanish units.
My eyes are yours.
Infiltration, 70% chance. That's actually pretty good. If I get to watch... Wait a minute. If I get to see all of France, I get to see all the troops they have here. The region is exempted from tax. War awareness is 15 points. Clamor for reform, 56. How much do I have clamor for reform? 46. Well, the French have more technology, so it makes sense. But they, because of all the losses here, could France fall to a revolution? Could that happen? Could we be beating the French to such an extent that they would turn into a republic? Who knows? Who knows? That would greatly diminish the enemy's ability to fight back against us. I think though here that it's time to end the episode. I just remembered that in the start of the episode I did not actually say what year it was, but because we are doing so few turns in between the videos, I don't think I need to remind you what time it is, as we're moving like 1 or 2 turns per episode. However, a lot of the heavy fighting is done, and I think that in between this episode and the next one I might be able to get at least 1 turn off camera without suffering a major battle. One big problem though is really what I need to do is I need to get a load of these sort of troops, Roman line infantry, so that I can hold down the town and move on to greater things. I'm recruiting a cannon here. I should be recruiting Venetian troops. Don't we have a... What is that? The Marines? Is that the only troop that I can recruit? Marines and riflemen? Riflemen are probably not good at keeping the garrison, and Marines take forever to recruit. Do I have... I do have a lot of Austrian troops that I could bring in to keep the Venetians under control. So I guess Austrian line infantry and Austrian Grenzers will be recruited, and they will be sent to garrison the Venetians. I could also send some Serbians. I want to see you down in the comments. Do you want Serbians? Anyways. time to end the episode. So, I will be saying, like I always say, hopefully you guys enjoy this, and hopefully I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye.